I know that the Virology Institute of the Philippines will address, as they've informed me before this interpellation, will address pathogens which affect animals, plants, and human beings, Mr. President, while the RI concerns itself with tropical diseases or illnesses affecting human beings. So we can probably leave my concern on that universe of human beings, Mr. President. So if we can know from the sponsor how we avoided the overlapping of functions, jurisdiction, mandates between RITM and the Virology Institute of the Philippines.
Okay. The definition that the minority floor leader gave on the jurisdiction of RITM, aside from tropical diseases, it also includes infectious diseases. That's why included dito just by for RITM is HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, dengue, and other emerging infectious diseases, no? To be clear. So, Mr. President, the VIP will serve as the lead. Pointed out that the focus is pathogens and potential disease-causing agents affecting plants, animals, and humans. And to differentiate it from ITM that is focused on human infectious and tropical diseases. Let me explain all of this, Mr. President, for VIP. First, the discovery phase until the clinical stages, and I will explain that now. The discovery phase, Mr. President, is anything before any drug development and manufacturing work can be done. It's called the discovery. It's discovering, say, a specific molecule, typically a DNA sequence, an RNA molecule, protein, or metabolite that play a crucial role in a disease state and can be targeted by a drug to produce beneficial and therapeutic effects. After that, researchers can then search for a compound or compounds that interact with the target molecule and have the potential to become drug candidates. A variety of compounds are identified as potential candidates, so researchers must conduct a series of experiments on each one, gauge their performance and viability as the final and most effective drug substance. Typically, they assess factors such as absorption, administration, side effects, and potential interaction. After experiments are finalized and the most promising compounds are isolated, the preclinical research phase can begin. Now, the preclinical studies, this happens before proceeding to clinical trials on humans. Vaccines are tested on cells in the lab. So to be clear, the preclinical studies are practiced now on cells if the vaccine will be safe and if it is effective. And then that role of RIT ends. Now the role of the role of VIP ends. And this is where the role of RITM is the clinicals. So I think we will remember this in our discussions during the pandemic. We have the phase 1 clinical trials, the phase 2, phase 3, so on and so forth. Phase 1, vaccine is tested on healthy volunteers to check for safety and see how the immune system responds. Phase 2, vaccine is tested on a large group of people, still for safety, the right dose. And phase 3, vaccine is tested on thousands of people, how well it protects against the disease, and check for reactions and side effects. So that is more or less the timeline, the description of what happens during the discovery, clinical, and the clinical trials, Mr. President.
So discovery discovery of gens, and then the discovery of the cure for the illness.
Yes, yes.
That is VIP.
That is VIP, Mr. President.
And is that the what we call the preclinical phase?
Not yet, that is
Not
still
yet,
the
okay.
discovery,
Yeah.
discovery
That is the
programs,
discovery-
discovery phase.
Okay, so discovery phase, even if the pathogen affects human beings, that's VIP. Okay, preclinical phase means the study of, what is this? The study now of what are the possible molecules, chemicals, and other combination which can produce
Have
drugs.
potentially become candidates for therapeutic effect, for a
Yes,
cure, yes.
Cure. That's preclinical, and that's also clearly VIP, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr.
Yes.
President.
And then yung sabi nyo, testing sa human testing na, and this human is RITM, and then how will the drugs, let us say, reach the overall, the general.
Sorry, what's the question?
After RITM tests the drugs, and then what? If RITM is satisfied that it is safe and effective, next step is FDA approval?
What's the question?
After RITM tests the drugs, and then what? If RITM is satisfied that it is safe and effective, next step is FDA approval?
So, Mr. President, yes, His Honor is correct. The next step is FDA, but also the possibility of looking for partners. And there is a provision in our bill that refers to that in collaboration with other government agencies. We could be looking for foreign partners or just for local partners for the promotion.
Who does that? Just that,
So they will now collaborate with different government agencies. We have a section on that, Mr. President. We're actually amending it because the original proposal was just DTI, and I said I don't think it should be just DTI, so we included DA because precisely there's animal components. We also included DOH because DOH is always involved in collaborations internationally and
So VIP yan. Kasi when the sponsor says that there is an animal component, plant component, so
yes,
it's the VIP which is expected now to network
yes, work with the other government agencies.
and even
internationally, yes.
International, so
Yes.
NGOs, business, for business investment for the development,
Yes.
the vaccine.
Yes,
for
Mr.
the-
President, yes.
So it will now be VIP, which will do this actively, not RITM.
Yes, that is
You
correct, Mr.
clarify.
President,
Okay.
yes.
So,
Kaya, overall, talagang siya yung lead in the research. So even the research, development, and
Development,
even like the promotion, it's really VIP who has the lead. But to take note, Mr. President, when we refer to VIP, the members of its board includes, it is chaired by the DOST secretary, and then it is co-chaired by the DOH secretary and the secretary of DA. And then their other members are DNR, DFA, CHED, FDA, RITM, VIP, NIH, the National Institute of Health, the President of the National Academy of Science and Technology, Executive Director of National Research Council, and 2 representatives appointed by the President. My point is when we refer to VIP, it really has all of these representatives from the different government agencies as part of its governing body.
but it is itself an agency of government.
It
We
is
are
an
creating
institute, yes. We are creating an
and,
institute, yes.
This will be attached to the DOST, meaning to say, tama po ba sa budget process natin, may sarili siyang line item? Tama po.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. President.
So when we are satisfied that the drug developed is effective to combat a certain illness affecting humans, who will apply for the FDA license to sell or to make it available to the population? Is it VIP or RITM?
Mr. President, I believe that VIP would be the proper entity to apply only because FDA is under DOH. So it would appear that VIP should take the lead on this just for some kind of division, a bit of separation of powers. Tama ba yun? Something like that.
I'm just pointing this out, Mr. President. Pero ang aking kasing mental image is may in-house tayo eh. In-house na develop na drug.
Yes,
But-
that is correct.
Yes, but yung na-develop na drug na let's say in quotation marks na in-house, dalawang nag-cooperate dun eh. Dalawang nag-cooperate sa discovery at preclinical si VIP. Sa
Correct.
clinical si RITM.
That is correct.
So who makes the final move to get the approval of the FDA for the practical application and benefit of that in-house developed drug, Mr. President?
Well, in my understanding, Mr. President, is that once the clinical trials are conducted by RITM, they are reporting regularly to VIP. Kasi
Right, yes.
nag-umpisa naman tong project na to kay VIP. So they will be reporting to VIP. So if they pass phase 3, they will now tell VIP na pumasa na to and it is ready now for approval by FDA. So it is
Sinong
my...
kilos? Sinong kilos? VIP. Si VIP ang kikilos.
Si VIP kikilos
Okay,
kasi
so
nga magre-report si RITM sa
If we-
VIP.
If that's already clear in the bill, Mr. President, that's my only concern. Basta klaro yun, Mr. President. What is the Bureau of Animal Industry affected by our measure?
Yes, Mr. President, the Bureau of Animal Industry is under DA and DA is actually a co-chair, Mr. President, of this. Kasi let's take note that the scope of work of the Virology Institute is for pathogens and potential disease-causing agents affecting plants, animals, and humans. So DA is very much part of the picture, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
how is BAI or the Bureau of Animal Industry under the DA to be affected by our measure? Mari-reorganize ba siya?
Ay, hindi
Mababawasan ba siya ng mandate or jurisdiction or function?
So, Mr. President, embedded in this bill is the concept of the One Health system. And under the One Health system or approach, it is a collaborative, multisectoral, and transdisciplinary framework that recognizes the interconnectedness of people, animals, plants, and their shared environment. So this is the overarching, I would say, relationship, or it dictates the relationship of the all agencies involved in human, animal, and plant pathogens or potential disease-causing agents. So I have a visual that basically just shows the overlapping or interconnectedness of human health, animal health, and environmental health. Environmental health refers to the plant health under plant health, Mr. President.
With the indulgence of Senator Cayetano, the majority leader is seeking the floor.
Just a minor interjection, Mr. President. Under the current setup, Mr. President, the reason why we had a long battle with ASF, I'm referring to the African swine flu, is because of the apparent non-movement of personnel within the FDA in conducting clinical trials for ASF vaccines. And when they were finally able to reach the conclusion that clinical trials were to be conducted, they conducted the same en masse, not your usual clinical trials of 100 population, but by the thousands. So would this set up with a new virology agency prevent the crisscrossing of mandates that would enable FDA under the current setup provides for the import licenses, et cetera, et cetera. Would this result in a more efficient way of combating animal diseases in the future, Mr. President?
Well, actually, Mr. President, that is the objective of the bill. Under the powers and functions of VIP Section 8, it says that letter N, it states there, ensure seamless collaboration with RITM and other pertinent research bodies to delineate specific roles and responsibilities, ensuring that the research agenda is complementary rather than duplicative. Mr. President, I would like to emphasize that the reason you even need a phrase like that is precisely because of examples like His Honor mentioned. I think it would not be truthful if this representation would say, oh yeah, sure, seamless na lahat yan. No, because precisely this is now a very intricate, what's the word? Not collaborative, the one interconnected. We truly are interconnected with our environment. That's what the environmentalists have been trying to tell us for ages na human beings are connected with the earth. What we do to the earth will come back to us. And we're already seeing it, no? Yung mga disease ng mga, sabi nga nila, yung bats, ang mga nagdala ng, if not COVID, many other human causing disease-causing agents that now affect humans. So the interconnectivity cannot be denied. There are probably not enough answers immediately. Like if you ask me, before we pass this, let's delineate everything. I think it's impossible because we cannot predict everything that will happen. But the goal is now to identify that VIP shall be the lead convener, and it is their job to ensure, I don't even know if the word ensure is accurate, but that's what the bill says, ensure seamless collaboration. Kasi we should attempt to have seamless collaboration to the extent that it is possible. I can imagine, Mr. President, there will be debates, even among themselves. No, mag-aaway-aaway din talaga yan ng turf. But at least now we have this agency that is tasked to be the lead convener, and it's tasked to ensure this seamless collaboration.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one final interjection. What about private laboratories? Laboratories within universities, laboratories coming from private institutions or even pharmaceutical companies. Who would have a better handle of this? Would it be FDA? Would it be just the proposed agency, or would they be allowed to conduct their own research unsupervised? Would there be some sort of an oversight on the part of the proposed Virology Institute of the Philippines? And I'm referring to private laboratories, Mr. President.
So, Mr. President, under Section 15, or it's now 16, Section 16 of our bill, we have a provision on promotion of the virology industry. And VIP, in partnership with different agencies, right now the bill refers to DTI, but we have an amendment that includes other government agencies. We'll jointly develop an industry roadmap for products and services that can be created and improved by research from VIP. We also have a separate provision on promotion of virology in the academe, Mr. President. So really the goal here is collaboration even with the private sector and the academe.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So, Mr. President, the DA has a Bureau of Animal Industry and it also has the Bureau of Plant Industry. The question is, they will not be
Ostracized?
radically affected by this measure that they need to reorganize
No, no.
said
So they will continue to do whatever it is they do now, but now they need to collaborate with VIP on the study of these pathogens and potential disease-causing agents that affect plants and animals. Kasi sa kanila yun eh. So they now have to collaborate. They will be called upon to collaborate. They are they are a member of the board as it is, so they will already know what, they will be updated on what's going on, and then as needed, they will be asked to step up and perhaps conduct their own research or bring in experts and so on and so forth. Kasi sila naman ang expert doon.
ang worry ko lang, Mr. President, is siyempre ang cost ng mga equipment ngayon, siguro lalo na yung mga research equipment, mga 200 million pesos, 400 million pesos, baka the Bureau will request this equipment and VIP will request this, RITM will request this equipment and VIP request the same equipment. So that's my worry, Mr. President, na baka hindi natin ma-well-equip lahat sila because of budgetary limitation, and then lumalabas that they cannot really perform to their full potential because naghahati-hati yung limited resources, sinahati-hati natin, and we're buying same equipment, Mr. President. So
Yes.
sana very clearly delineated yung mga responsibilities so that if Bureau of Animal Industry requests for an equipment, multi-million peso or dollar equipment, that should be to perform a function that it should perform, and then si VIP does not request the same equipment
Yes.
kasi iba ang function ni VIP. I mean, I hope
Yes.
I hope I'm making myself clear.
His Honor is very clear. That is actually the very same concern I had when I first heard of the VIP bill, I think 4 or 5 years ago, handling the budget of DOH. I have been very concerned about our inability to even supply all of the equipments on their wish list. And what I also don't want to happen, like His Honor, is that they will all end up coming to us and say, kulang kami, yung pala nandun sa isa, ayaw i-share. So the goal here really, Mr. President, and we will put this on the lap of the DOST Secretary, who is the lead agency involved, is to give us even with the equipment, let's ask them for a list so that when the budget season comes next year, we don't, the good thing is with RITM, which is under DOH, DOST, it's not a very big agency, the budget isn't even that big. I don't think it's very difficult. So now we just have to include in the discussion Department of Agriculture to make sure His Honor's concern, which I share, is addressed, that does not cause even more problems. In fact, the example I would use, His Honor used the DA. The example I would always use is RITM kasi ayokong mamatayan just because hindi na siya bago. The flavor of the decade is VIP. Ayokong mangyari yun, Mr. President.
Sige po. So, Mr. President, last issue last point na lang. Official site of the VIP, I noticed it's going to be by law to be located in the new Clark Economic Zone in Tarlac Province. So, will this lot be donated by the BCDA, or shall we pay for this?
It's currently already. Yeah, Mr. President, it will. My understanding is it's going to be rented land, Mr. President.
Rented land. So katabi, Mr. President, ng PBOX.
Oo, doon na sila.
Don't we want to adapt na lang the wording in the PBOX where Metro Manila is the first choice, and then kasi rent din pala ito, so ganun ang wording sa PBOX kasi, Mr. President, let's take a look.
But apparently, Mr. President, they have already been spending for the development of this as a project of DOST. Naumpisahan na, even before this representation started handling this bill.
Apo, sige po. It's not really a big issue. We want to bring activity there in the New Clark Economic Zone in Tarlac Province. And then meron kasi tayong meron din tayong concerns sa security pala ng facilities. So mabuti na rin po 'yan. Medyo pwede pang iplano ang security features and security arrangement. So Mr. President, yun lang po. Just one final appeal na if to eliminate overlapping of the functions, mandate, jurisdiction, but if we cannot really 100% eliminate, minimize na lang po para ayoko kasing mangyari na magturuan eh. So I think in this particular case, Virology Institute of the Philippines, very clear. Medyo it's clear what is the primary purpose that we are creating the VIP, Mr. President. So
Yes.
siguro a little fine tuning na lang po to avoid this the danger of a turf war because of unclear or ambiguous language in the law, Mr. President. So that's all my concern, and I thank the sponsor for her patience and congratulate her. I think this is an idea whose time has come, Mr. President. So we will give this measure our full support, Mr. President.
Mr. President, may I ask His Honor a question, no? So we can, his suggestions are very well taken. I think he's the only one who can really have a discussion at this depth because of his background. Chemistry major nga po ba? Ano nga bang major
Math po,
niya?
math.
Pero parang chemist, parang scientist eh. Anyway, yung pong binanggit ko na provision under the functions of VIP, where it says ensure seamless collaboration with RITM and other pertinent research bodies to delineate specific roles and responsibilities, ensuring that the research agenda is complementary rather than duplicative. So, di ba, if I understand correct, ito talaga yung concern ng ating minority floor leader. So, will this do this provision, or does His Honor want us to tell them to have a provision where we say that within 120 days they will delineate? I don't know. I will have to ask them also, but I want to get guidance from the minority floor leader if he wants. I can read my amendments if there's no, from my understanding, there's no other reservation for interpellation, and then His Honor can buy himself time to think of.
Is the amendment on that paragraph?
No, we have minor amendments, Mr. President, really just cleaning up the bill.
Actually, Mr. President, itong napapansin natin sa government functioning. Ensure seamless collaboration. So that means that the VIP must enjoy some kind of parang higher status or position, because parang he should be able to command or order the other agencies to follow.
To toe the line, yes.
To toe the line. So yun lang po. So we have to make sure. Sino bang head ng VIP?
Si DOST. But the bill says that the co-chair is DOH and DA. So sila tatlo lang naman din ang mag-uusap dyan.
Yun na nga, I don't know if a secretary can order another secretary, Mr. President. So, maganda, but I believe it's well written. This paragraph N of page 6, line 24, I think that is my objective. And
Okay.
I think as written, it already captures my concern.
Okay.
Yun na lang. How to make it work in real life, Mr. President.
Magtitigan na lang tayo, Mr. President, pagdating sa budget. Kung pare-pareho yung equipment na hinihingi nila, kung ayaw nila mag-share ng equipment nila, sabihin natin, i-repeal na natin itong batas nila.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sure.
Mr. President, the Deputy Minority Leader is seeking the floor. Move that she be recognized.
Yes, Senator Risa, the Deputy Minority Leader, is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, good sponsor, dear colleagues, magandang gabi. I just want to make it of record that I support in principle the establishment of a Virology Institute of the Philippines, noting with particular interest its goals toward vaccine self-reliance anchored on the One Health approach. To my mind, good sponsor, just some reservations which might be considered during the period of amendments. Will it be beneficial for government if the proposed VIP takes the form of a GOCC attached to the DOST with clear priorities embedded in the National Virology Research Agenda and parameters in terms of managing conflict of interest through public disclosure and accountability in terms of, for example, collaboration with the private sector or acceptance of financial assistance through the Virology Research Fund, or much worse, at wag naman sana kung may outbreak sa VIP side. Another concern, Mr. President, Madam Chair, based on our limited experience with the Vaccine Self-Reliance Project that adopts the PPP framework, is the good sponsor confident that the VIP will attract partners and investors? Another concern, Mr. President, Madam Chair, I understand that the goal of the VIP is towards a vaccine self-reliance. However, my worry is that parang relay ang mangyayari from vaccine research, halimbawa, kung walang government pharmaceutical organization for vaccine manufacturing o kulang ang competence level ng ating regulatory agencies gaya ng FDA o walang private sector takers, hindi kaya masayang lang o hindi natin fully mapakinabangan ang kung anumang output ng VIP, lalot uneven ang mga capacities ng ating mga ahensya. And lastly, Mr. President, good sponsor, another set of concerns is the current audit of our human resources needed to fully operationalize the VIP, including the sufficiency of compensation and benefit packages to make it attractive, lalo kung ito ang starting point ng ating local virology industry. So I hope that these matters will be addressed at the proper time at maraming salamat, good sponsor at Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. President, Her Honor posed questions that are very important for us to fully reach the maximum potential of this bill, and we assure her that as she was delivering her manifestation, we were taking note. We will also consult with the experts. We have some initial thoughts, but we will make a response after we study it fully, and also after making the amendments, the committee amendments, which are actually more or less are more clarificatory. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, there being no other reservation for interpellation, I move to close the period of interpellation.
There's no objection. The period of interpellation is closed, and the chair hopes the support for this bill will go viral.
I second the motion, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Yes, the VIP, Villanueva
Ready na.
Institute for Public Service, VIPS,
May suspension, Mr. President.
session suspended.